Hello students, this is third lecture of the chapter Reproduction in Flowering Plants. Our today's topic is pollination, which will include autogamy, geitonogamy and xenogamy, advantages and disadvantages of self and cross-pollination, devices to ensure cross-pollination and artificial hybridization. But before that, let's take a tour of what we have covered already. We started with development of microspores in microsporangium known as microsporogenesis, then development of male gametes called microgametogenesis, and we got a mature pollen grain or male gametophyte. Then we moved towards megasporogenesis, means development of ovule, then development of female gametophyte, which is embryo sac. We studied the structure of both ovules as well as embryo sac in detail. Now it's time to launch the mature pollen grain towards stigma by pollination. So let's start today's topic, that is pollination. As we all know, what is pollination? It is transfer of pollen grains to the stigma of a pistil. This is the pollen grain which has to reach the stigma of the female part. This is known as pollination. Now this pollination is of three types mainly. First is autogamy, second is geitonogamy, and third is xenogamy. Now let's discuss each in detail. The first one is autogamy. It means transfer of pollen grains from anther to the stigma of the same flower. For example, if this is a plant, this is a flower, this is female part, it is stigma, it is anther. The pollen grains liberate and reach stigma of its own flower. It is known as autogamy. Example in case of Viola, Oxalis, Commelina. Now Commelina has two different properties, two different types of flowers. First are cosmogamous flowers, the flowers which remain open and which are similar to the flowers of other species. These flowers are exposed with exposed anther and stigma. The other one are clistogamous flowers, means the closed flower which do not open at all. In these flowers, autogamy is the only mode of pollination because this flower never open. For example, this flower is covered by petals from all around. This is stigma and this is the anther inside. So this flower never open, and it is its compulsion that the pollen grains from the anther of same flower will pollinate the stigma. Hence, Commelina has clistogamous flowers as well as cosmogamous flowers. Now, autogamy includes three methods. That is, number one, homogamy, means anther and stigmas are brought together by growth, bending, or folding. For example, if this is stigma style ovary, the anther is brought towards stigma of its own flower by bending or folding. It is called homogamy. Example in case of Catharanthus mirabilis, and it is known as fail-safe mechanism because its own genetics allowed the growth of anther towards its own stigma, so that only its own stigma can pollinate the own anther can pollinate the stigma of same flower. Next is clistogamy, means flowers remain closed. If this is pistil, this is stamen, the flower remain closed. It is covered by petals or sepals, whatever. They never exposed to the outer world or outer flowers. So the only chance of pollination is by its own anthers only, by its own pollen grains. It is known as clistogamy. It is seen in Commelina, Balsam, Oxalis and Viola. The third is bud pollination, means anther and stigma ripen before the opening of the bud. Means if a flower bud which is not opened yet has stigma, or means female part, and this is male part, they ripened before the opening of the flower, means before the opening of flower it is already pollinated by its own pollen grains. This is known as bud pollination, which is found in pea, wheat and rice. So we studied that in autogamy or self-pollination there are three methods, that is homogamy, cleistogamy and bud pollination. Now, what are the advantages of self-pollination? Why it is advantageous? It maintains purity of race, means the genes of own species are maintained from generation to generation. The flowers are pollinated by their own pollen grains. There is no contamination from other flowers. Hence, they maintains purity of race. Second is used to maintain pure lines for hybridization. For example, as we have studied in 10th class about Mendelism, there the Mendel used pure lines for cross-pollination experiments in which there are two alleles in a single character. This is called homozygous. Homozygous is a pure line which is formed due to autogamy only. This is heterogamous, means two different types of alleles, two different types of genes. This is not a pure line. The pure line which is in homozygous condition is maintained through self-pollination only. Third is large number of pollen grains are not needed. In case of cross-pollination, we need lots of number of pollen grains so that chances of pollination increases. But in case of self-pollination, own pollen grains are pollinating the stigma, means there is less distance to cover by the pollen grains. Hence, very less number of pollen grains are needed. And the next advantage is no need of devices to attract insects. Means we don't need insects to pick up our pollen grains from this flower so that the pollen grains can reach other flower, because the pollen grains of its own flower are pollinating the stigma of the same flower. That's why there is no need of insects. Hence, the devices like colorful petals are not needed. Now, what are the disadvantages of self-pollination? New characters are seldom introduced. Means if there is no pollination from other flowers, there will be no introduction of new genes, and hence new characters are not introduced. Next is decrease in vigor and vitality. As we know, there is a term inbreed depression. Inbreed depression means when pollination or fertilization to generation occurs inside a single line, then that plants or that organism, their vigor and vitality decrease due to inbreed depression. Next one is decrease in immunity to diseases. As there are no introduction to the new characters, hence the new diseases which are occurring day by day in the environment, these species are prone to those diseases because there is no introduction of new characters. The next is decrease adaptability to changed environments. The cross pollination induce variations. If there are variation, there is evolution, and in case of self pollination, there is no evolution, there is no variations. Hence, adaptability to changed environment decrease drastically. These are some disadvantages of the self pollination. Now, next type of pollination is geitonogamy. Geitonogamy means transfer of pollen grains from the anther to the stigma of another flower of the same plant. Means if this is a plant which has two branches, in a branch there is a flower and other branch have another flower. Now pollen grains of this flower reaches stigma of this flower. Means pollen grains of a flower of the same plant pollinating the stigma of the flower of same plant but of different branch. It is known as geitonogamy. The next is xenogamy. It is also known as cross pollination. It is transfer of pollen grains from anther to the stigma of a different plant. For example, if it is a plant, it have a flower, there is a one different plant with a flower. Now the pollen grains from the anther of this flower reaches the stigma of flower of a different plant. This is known as xenogamy, in which two different plants are involved. It brings genetically different types of pollen grains to a stigma because other plant has different genetics, different sets of genes. Then it help in reaching genetically different type of pollen grains to the stigma. It is performed by help of external agency. As the plants are different, it has to cover longer distance. It needs some agency for pollination. Agencies can be abiotic or biotic. Abiotic means non-living, which includes wind or water. Biotic means living beings like insects, birds, bats, snails, etc. So cross pollination is done with the help of certain agencies, certain agencies like abiotic and biotic. In abiotic it is wind and water, and in biotic it is insect, bird, bat and snail, etc. Now let's take some examples of different pollinations in case of xenogamy. The first is anemophily. It is known as wind pollination. Example in case of maize, grasses, cannabis, urtica. Urtica has gunpowder mechanism. That means the anther lobe, if it is anther, the anther lobe burst under pressure and spread the pollen grains to different directions. It is known as gunpowder mechanism, which occurs in urtica. Other is hydrophily, as the bird says. Hydro means water. Water pollination is known as hydrophily. Example in case of Vallisneria, Zostera, Ceratophyllum. We'll deal with these three examples in detail in coming topics. Now hydrophily is of two subtypes, that is hypohydrophily. Hypo means below, occurs below surface of water. Example in case of Zostera. Epihydrophily means occurs over surface of water. If this is water label, hypohydrophily means the pollen grains are traveling below the water here, and in case of epihydrophily, pollen grains are traveling at the surface. It is called epihydrophily. The third type of cross pollination is entomophily, which is known as insect pollination. In 80% of cases the insect is bee, Madhumakhi apis. Example Bougainvillea, Euphorbia, Acacia. In case of Rafflesia, it uses fly trap mechanism with help of its foul odor, foul smell, gandhi smell. Third is turnpipe or lever mechanism used in case of Salvia. We will deal with the example of Salvia in detail in our coming topics. Next is ornithophily. It means bird pollination, when birds are pollinating different flowers. Example Bombyx, Erythrina, Lobelia, agave. Next is chiropterophily. It is known as bat pollination. Example Kigelia pinnata. This example is asked many times in NEET examination. Kigelia pinnata. Next is malacophily, means snail pollination, when snail helps in pollination. Example in Aresema. Next myrmecophily. It is known as ant pollination. Example Acacia. And last one is anthophily, means artificial hybridization or artificial pollination when it is man-made. Now let's discuss the contrivances to ensure cross-pollination or outbreeding devices. For example, यहाँ हमने देखा कि क्रॉस पॉलिनेशन में different sets of genes are introduced. That is giving it the edge in surviving in variable environmental condition. So to ensure cross-pollination, what are the different strategies that the plants are using? The various strategies, the number one is dicliny, means flowers are unisexual. A single flower has only a single sex. For example, there are flowers which have only anther, and if different flower have pistil. So it is its compulsion now to pollinate different flower, means cross pollination, because the same flower do not have pistil. So in absence of pistil in its own flower, the anther has the compulsion to pollinate the different flower. Hence dicliny helps in cross pollination. Next is dichogamy. Dichogamy means the anther and stigma of same flower mature at different times. For example, if a flower has this pistil, it matures prior to the stamen. Hence, this anther is unable to pollinate this flower. Hence, the pollen grains from some other flowers will pollinate this pistil. Hence, by help of dichogamy, cross pollination is achieved. In case protandry means anthers mature earlier and protogyny means stigma mature earlier. Here male part is maturing earlier and here the female part is maturing earlier. So by dichogamy the cross pollination can be achieved. Third is prepotency, means pollen grains of another flower germinate more rapidly over stigma. For example, if this is pistil, if pollen grain of some other flower from other plant land with pollen grain of its own flower, then the pollen grains of some other plant will germinate earlier. Hence, it is able to pollinate this flower more rapidly. Next is prepotency. Okay, prepotency we have done earlier. The self-sterility means pollen grains of a flower do not germinate on stigma of same flower. Means self. The pollen grains of the same flower are not able to germinate on stigma of its flower. Hence, there is no chance of self-pollination. Next is heterostyly, means there are 2 to 3 types of flowers with different heights of styles. Means this is stigma, style is long and anther is short. It is not able to or very less chances of pollination by own pollen grains because stigma is at height from own anther. Hence, heterostyly helps in cross pollination. Next is hercogamy, means there are some mechanical devices. It may be different structure of petal or sepal which is preventing self pollination and it is promoting the cross pollination. Example in case of Pansy and Calmia. साथ ही साथ आप सभी नोट्स को नोट डाउन करते रहें ताकि आपको रिवीजन में हेल्प मिले. नाउ we'll discuss about some examples of pollination. This is very important for your board examination as well as an EET examinations. So first we will take the example of Zostera, which is a case of hydrophily. Zostera is also known as sea grass and it is a marine angiosperm. It has pollen grains which are ribbon-like. Once in AIMS it is asked that which plant has longest pollen grains, then it is the Zostera which has long ribbon-like pollen grains without exine. Pollen grains, as you can see in the diagram here, pollen grains are floating below water. These are pollen grains which are floating below water, means it is hypohydrophily. The stigma are long. These floating pollen grains come near to the stigma and get coiled around it easily. Hence pollination is achieved. It is done like this in case of Zostera, which has long ribbon-like pollen grains. And it is a typical example of hypohydrophily. The next example is Ceratophyllum. It is a monoecious flower, means both male and female flowers are produced. Monoecious means the same flower has both parts, male and female. Male flower has 30 to 40 stamens and mature anther breaks. It breaks and comes to surface. It dehisces on surface and liberates pollen grains without exine. Pollen germinates and sink, and in this sinking they come in contact with long sticky stigmas. For example, in this picture, the anthers are now mature. They come to surface, they dehisce, and the pollen grains are liberated, which come in contact with the long sticky stigmas. In this case, now the pollination is achieved. This is a typical example of epihydrophily. From the flowchart, we can study that male flower has 30 to 40 stamens. The mature anther breaks, it comes to surface, then dehisce on surface and liberate pollen grains. The pollen germinates and sinks and comes in contact with long sticky stigmas. It is the case of Ceratophyllum. Then the next is Vallisneria. In Vallisneria, which is a dioecious plant and submerged. The male plant produces large number of male flowers. The male flower abscise and rise to surface and float. Have two fertile stamens and its tepal form both. For example, if we study from this picture, lots of male flowers are coming to surface and floating on the surface of water. On the surface of water, there is a boat-like structure which is formed of tepals. What are tepals? When in a flower there is no differentiation between a petal and sepal, then they are known as tepals. This is trifid tepal. This tepal forms a boat-like structure and it starts floating on the surface of water. Then female plant bear long stalked pistillate flowers. These stalks reach up to surface and have trifid stigma. In case of flower, the styles are long, the flower reach surface, and they have trifid stigma, means they have three lips, trifid stigmas. Now male and female comes in contact, anther burst and pollination is achieved. As we can see here, the male flowers floating on the surface comes in contact with the trifid stigma of the female flower, and in this case now pollination is achieved. Now in case of salvia, which is here, it is also known as term pipe or lever mechanism. We can study the picture here. It is entomophilous flower, means insect pollinated. It has a protandrous flower, means anthers will mature earlier to the pistils, and it has bilipped corolla. Bilipped corolla. Corolla has two lips. Upper lip for attracting the pollinators and lower lip for landing. This lip is for landing and upper lip, it is for attracting the pollinators, insects. It has long connective with fertile anther lobe at upper end and sterile anther lobe at lower end. This is here. This is the fertile anther lobe and this is the sterile anther lobe. When insect lands, sterile anther lobe gets pushed, which force fertile lobe to strike at the back of the insect. This insect came, it land on the lower lip of the corolla. This exert a pressure which leads to rubbing of the anther lobe at its backside, means the pollens are now stuck to the insect. It is the case when anther is matured earlier, means pollen grains are mature enough. When this insect visit another flower which has matured stigma, matured pistil, then the pollen grains which are stick to its back will pollinate the pistil. In this way, the pollination is achieved in salvia. Now there are some typical examples like fig, in which pollinating agent is a female gall wasp called Blastophaga. Hypanthodia of plant possess gall flowers. Wasp lives inside Hypanthodia its early life. Hypanthodia are type of fruits. When comes outside, get here, they are flowers. Hypanthodia is type of inflorescence. These are flowers on the walls of the fig when insect visit outside with itself, it will get the pollen grains from this inflorescence, pollen grains from these flowers. In this way, it help in the pollination. Next is Pronuba. Pronuba deposit its eggs in ovary of yucca flower and deposit pollen grains in the hollow of stigma. Then it is Ophrys speculum, which is also known as sexual deceit mechanism, in which the odor of this flower matches the odor of female moth Colpa. The male moth thinks it is the female moth instead of flower and try to copulate with it. In this case, the pollination occur. So these are some examples of pollination. Now we'll discuss about the artificial hybridization. What is artificial hybridization? As we know, when crossing is done at controlled condition to yield desired results, it is called artificial hybridization. When we choose the two flowers, male and female, for desired characters and pollinate them under controlled condition, it is called artificial hybridization. It includes two techniques. Number one is emasculation. Here, as you see in this picture, the mature anther of the flower has been cut down deliberately. It is known as emasculation, removal of anthers before the dihysis using forceps. It is done in monoecious flowers. Then the second technique is bagging, in which the flower with stigmas, the female flower, is bagged, covered with a translucent or transparent bag, so that no contamination can occur from outside pollen grains. It is known as bagging. Now, when the stigma of this flower get matured, then we can dust pollen grains of our choice, so that to yield desired results. It is known as artificial hybridization. So, in today's topic, we discussed the pollination, autogamy, geitonogamy, xenogamy, advantages and disadvantages of self and cross pollination, devices to ensure cross pollination, and artificial hybridization. Hope you have enjoyed your lecture. So keep studying and keep going. Till then, goodbye.